इस वक्त आपको बोलने की इजाजत नहीं देता. मैंने शहला रशीद से सवाल पूछा, उसे जवाब देने दीजिए.
The men have got a lot of time to speak, so I should also get time to speak. First of all, I would like to congratulate all progressive sections of this country that Umar and Anirban, who are two students of JNU, they have got bail today. We are very happy. And the court judgment and sorry, not the court judgment, the bail order actually mentions that section 124A does not apply. Sedition does not apply. And of course, the whole debate is going on about slogans, and I will address that. I will not evade that question. But first of all, I want to point out some of the slogans that the ABVP raises. खून से तिलक करेंगे, गोलियों से आरती. जो अफजल की बात करेगा वो अफजल की मौत मरेगा. यानी आप जस्टिस एपी शाह को भी मारेंगे, आप जस्टिस मार्कंडे काजू को भी मारेंगे. सभी नेशनल लॉ यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में जो सेमिनार्स होते हैं जिसमें अफजल गुरु केस, नाथुराम गोडसे केस, मेनी अदर केसेस विच आर केस स्टडीज वेयर दे आर स्टडीड, आप उन सब नेशनल लॉ यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में जाएंगे और आप लोगों को मारेंगे. सिमिलरली हमारे यहाँ एक बड़ा ओल्ड फैशन सा लेफ्ट का स्लोगन है यहाँ पे, क्योंकि क्राउड मुझे पता नहीं वाकिफ है उससे कि नहीं. जैसे हम लोग लगाते हैं गुजरात के रेपिस्टों को एक धक्का और दो, उसके जवाब में ये लोग लगाते हैं, जब हम लगाते हैं गुजरात के रेपिस्टों को, ये लोग लगाते हैं एक मौका और दो. दैट्स अ वेरी वायलेंट स्लोगन. बट डू वी से दैट दे शुड बी बिहाइंड बार्स? नो, बिकॉज the university is a place where you can see all of us sitting on this panel, we are products, most of us are products of JNU. And as Kanhaiya, as Saurabh have mentioned, they come from poor backgrounds. I also come from a very marginalized background. And I'm in a strangely unique position because this whole event is around, Kashmir. And I happen to be a Kashmiri and a union representative. But in JNU, I don't face discrimination. I am not seen first as a Kashmiri. I can get elected to the union with the highest number of votes without having to face any bias. That is JNU. I am looked at as a political activist, as a dedicated activist first. And that is how we integrate people. We cannot integrate people by imposing AFSPA on them, by putting sedition cases. And as Saurabh also pointed out, Saket has also pointed out, this nation, it stands for, I don't remember what exactly the word is that he used, accommodation. That is what this nation stands for. However, that very idea is under threat today. I'm very afraid to say. We see, the first time I never thought of myself as a Muslim. I identify as a communist. I never thought of myself, my Muslim identity was never very strong or anything. But the only time when I felt pained, a little pained as a Muslim, was when this whole thing about love jihad, ghar wapsi, gau raksha, all of this was going on in this country. It hurts. It hurts. When the Dadri lynching happened, it pained. It did pain. When we say that Kashmir is an integral part of India, how exactly is that going to be achieved? If it's not a matter of, deciding whether Kanhaiya said something about army, being involved in rapes or not. The Justice Verma Committee, which was appointed by the government of India, not by JNU, the Justice Verma Committee actually acknowledges in its report that there are widespread complaints, there are widespread accusations, and I would especially urge the women in this crowd to be sensitive to this. The Justice Verma Committee actually mentions that rapes do happen with impunity in Kashmir. Now, if we are to, agar hum is baat ko jhutlana chahte hain, if we want to prove otherwise, we have to allow inquiries to happen. But what happens? Under the Armed Forces Special Power Act, no one can be tried. The armed forces, they have effective immunity. They cannot be tried without the MHA's permission, but that permission is never given. Now, I want to ask a couple of things. As I would go back again to what Saurabh and Kanhaiya have said, we are all from marginalized backgrounds in one way or the other, and we are studying in a premier university of the country. How is it possible? How is it possible? It's possible because we have a university that has a unique progressive admission policy where you can study in a public funded institution and you can actually be familiarized with the democratic institutions of this country. Honestly, and I don't know, after this there will be an FIR on me, there will be a court case on me when I say this. But if you actually ask me to be honest today, Rahul, I have grown up seeing a very violent image of India, where I have grown up, to be very honest. अब आप में से कुछ जाकर ABP के कुछ लोग जाकर मेरे ऊपर FIR कराएंगे, वही सब कुछ हो रहा है, जो भी कुछ बोल रहा है उस पर FIR हो रही है. But I would urge you once to listen. I make a very earnest appeal. Where I come from, I've seen a very violent image of India. And when was the only time in Kashmir you have seen often a poll boycott. People don't go out to vote. In 1996, the armed forces, they came to our house, and you can prosecute me for this, but they came to our house with their boots on, and my grandmother was sitting there, she is now dead, she was sitting there, and they said, ye budiya se bhi vote dalwao. Budiya ne vote diya ya nahi diya? This is what I have seen this. Now you cannot falsify this. But then I come to JNU, and I decide to contest elections. Elections which are, every time there are calls for boycott of elections in Kashmir. But in JNU, I decide to participate in electoral democracy. Which are the institutions which inspired that faith in me? Which are the institutions? These are institutions, these are democratic processes that we need to protect from the RSS today. The RSS, what is it doing? What is it doing? In FTII, you have 35 students are charge sheeted. This is not about Afzal Guru or anything. I'll tell you, I'll come to the slogans. But I want to, because I'm getting a chance to speak to you all directly, I want to say this. I went to Allahabad University. We were having a protest, a 3-month-long protest, which many media houses did not show. It was called the Occupy UGC. It was for research fellowships. And I went to Allahabad University. I went to many parts of the country to campaign for the protests, for the movement that was going on. In Allahabad University, the ABVP snatched the keys of the hall where the program was supposed to be held. They inflicted violence on the students who had come to listen to the program. It was not about Afzal Guru. It was not about Yaqub Menon. There were screenings. In Hyderabad Central University, the ASA, Ambedkar Student Association, wanted to screen the Muzaffarnagar Baki hai. And this is actually the thing which led to the chain of events which finally led to Rohit Vemula's suicide. And ABVP wanted to disrupt it. In JNU, we wanted to screen caste on the menu card, Muzaffarnagar Baki hai. Every time they disrupt, ABVP was always there. But now, because their government is in the power, every time they call up the police that, we don't like this program. Today, in DU, Professor Chaman Lal, who is the best renowned scholar on Bhagat Singh, he was giving a talk and he was attacked by the ABVP members. This was not about Afzal Guru. He was not talking about Yaqub Memon. Why is this happening? We need to introspect this, and I would, with honesty, urge you to reflect upon this.
चलिए मैं चाहूँगा कि
Don't push
महामेधा
people away from the nation.
मैं चाहूँगा कि महामेधा नागर इस
talk about
सवाल का जवाब दे. हाँ बोलिए आप खत्म कीजिए फटाफट.
I would like to talk about the slogans as well. What is being said, there are some slogans. See, Pakistan Zindabad जो है वो कभी JNU campus में लगा ही नहीं. This I can tell you. And you know what? Had Pakistan been a nation where there was equality for minorities, equality for women, where there was no violence, where there was no poverty, I would be the first one to say Pakistan Zindabad. But there isn't. And that is why no one in JNU will also raise that slogan, because we are aware. We are aware of the inequalities of the kind that we have in India. They are in Pakistan too. We did not raise that slogan. Some people, yes, some people did indeed raise some slogans to the effect कि भारत के टुकड़े होंगे. And Kanhaiya was not present there. I was initially present there. I'm honest enough to say that. And I advised them, please don't raise such slogans. But see, I'm stressing one more thing. These people were not from JNU. And JNU Student Union is not a censor board. For example, ABVP raises many slogans which are very bad, which sound very bad. We don't tell them कि आप ये slogans मत लगाइए. We can advise, we can condemn, okay? But we don't put cases on them. We don't want to see our friends behind the bars. They are students like us.
चलिए महामेधा